Welcome back, or welcome if this is the first time you're watching. For those who don't know, I like a card bet. I like to pick a few players that's going to get a booking and have a little gamble. What I don't do though is pick the favourites. So if you're wanting your short prices, this is not the video for you. 3 to 1 is my minimum price. I won't go lower than 3 to 1. I just don't think it's good value. So I won't be backing Granit Xhaka, for example, or Phil Barsley. Not that here. Also, I've got a massive double this week. I'll tell you that at the end because I've put a fiver on it, and if it wins, I'm giving one of you the winnings. All you have to do is subscribe and something else, which I'll tell you at the end. So we're going to take a look at the fixtures. Important though, as always, lineups. The team lineups before the game is as important as possible. Obviously, I don't know them for doing this video. I'm guessing the lineups as much as possible. But if you can, if you're thinking of the West Brom Spurs game tomorrow, for example, if you can wait till the lineups are out, please do, because it is vital. And what I'm picking, the players I'm picking to be booked, massively depends on who they are up against and what position they're playing and so on and so forth. Anyway, first up today, in an hour, I'm recording this quite late on Saturday. Everton take on Manchester United, and there's one player that tickles my fancy a little bit if he starts, and that's Paul Pogba. With Richarlison suspended, I wouldn't be surprised if Ancelotti tries something a little bit different. They obviously they've not fared too well last week against Newcastle. Didn't really test Newcastle at all without Richarlison. They need to get James Rodriguez involved as much as possible. Previously, they've been sort of playing like a 4-3-3 formation with him on the right and Richarlison on the left. I wonder if today he's maybe going to just try something a little bit different and try and get James a bit more central. Now, whether that means playing, Iwobi and Bernard either side of him, or going 4-2-3-1 more or something, I don't know. But even if he sticks to slightly the right and cuts in, Pogba tends to play on the left for Man United if he starts in midfield, and he's priced up at 5 to 1. That's my bet for the Man United game if Pogba and Rodriguez starts, and you can sort of guess where Rodriguez plays. These bets are also good to do in play if you can watch the game, wait 5-10 minutes, get a feel for where each player's playing. And if Rodriguez is on the right cutting in, or he's starting in a number 10 position and Pogba's in and around that area. Pogba commits a lot of fouls. I think he's 4th in the Premier League this season for the most fouls committed. He gets away with a lot, but that's why he's 5 to 1. If he was getting booked for as much as he should do, he wouldn't be backable. But he's backable today at 5 to 1. And then we've got the Crystal Palace take on Leeds United. Last week I said the two teams I don't like getting involved within much is Burnley and Palace. Neither have players that get fouled a lot, and neither have players that do a lot of fouls. And if they do, they're too short to back. Like Ashley Westwood, he's not really worth betting on. I had a little look today. I like Leeds down the right hand side with Costa. Costa's he's fast. He gets in behind the fullback. That means you look at Van Aanholt. He's 7 to 1. It's a big price, but he doesn't get many bookings. He got booked last week, but I think it was a bit harsh, to be honest with you. So this game is one I'm sort of looking at. The only one player that stands out a little bit is James McArthur. Their captain Milivojevic, how you pronounce it? I can't pronounce it. I hate that name. It's a right tongue twister, isn't it? He's suspended. James McCarthy is unlikely, which means James McArthur should come back into the team. And if he does, that would mean him and Palace should go back to a 4-4-2. They went to 4-3-3 last week. It was crap. I think they'll stick to 4-4-2 again. If they do, that means their two centre midfields going to be outnumbered here against Leeds. Leeds play 3 in the middle of the park. Rodrigo behind Bamford stuff. So it's quite tricky for the Palace midfield to... Well, you're outnumbered. So James McArthur, 7 to 2. He's the one I'll probably bet on if the lineup suit. I'm waiting on Eze. I'm waiting on Eze to start from Crystal Palace. He's 9 to 1 today. It's a massive price for someone making a step up to Championship. For whatever reason, Roy Hodgson just isn't playing him. I don't know why, because Schlupp, he's not a good footballer. He doesn't really offer much defensively. Doesn't really offer much offensively. I just don't get why Roy is not playing Eze more. But as soon as he does start playing him, that'll get interesting, particularly against Leeds, whether he puts Ayling right back or Dallas. They get forward well. 9 to 1 would be huge for Eze, but I don't think he'll start. I think he'll stick with Schlupp. So the bet from that game is James McArthur. Don't worry, at the end I'll give you my sort of 3 or 4 main picks, and it's probably one of them's not from this game. Chelsea take on Sheffield United. Hard to find value in this one, actually. I had a little look, and Sheffield United have reined it in a little bit this season. Baldock's their one player that you look at and think he's going to get booked, but he's under 3 to 1, just under though, 11 to 4, but still a bit short for me. Chilwell's Chelsea's most fouled player, coming from that left back area. It's difficult to know what Lampard's going to do. He started Tammy Abraham during the week and pushed Werner out on the left a bit. If he does that again, that'll interest me. So the one player I'm picking out is Basham at 4 to 1. Only 4 yellow cards last season in the Premier League, but he got 11 the year before in the Championship. 4-1's a good price. Whenever I've watched Sheffield United this season, he's been teetering on the brink of a booking pretty much in every game. He's committing a lot of fouls, doing a lot of tackles. If he is up against Werner, maybe Pulisic should be tricky, but he's not been fouled this season, Pulisic in Premier League. He's not been fouled once. Mason Mount out there wouldn't be too bad either, but we'll wait and see. But the player I'm picking out for this one is Basham, and I probably will be putting that one in my bet should the lineups be a bit tasty. And the good thing is Jonathan Moss is in charge of the Chelsea game, so the cards should be okay. It's finding the right player. And the Palace Leeds game, I've actually got a decent referee as well. I can't remember who it is, but they've got a decent referee for the cards as well. West Ham take on Fulham. Now the referee for this one is Jones. If you don't know who Jones is, don't blame you. He's not had a Premier League game. This is his first Premier League fixture this season. He's had a couple in Championship. Doesn't hand out too many yellow cards in that league. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets this on with this. But there's two big prices here. None for West Ham. No West Ham players. Souček's done the most fouls in the league though. So if you are looking for a West Ham player, he's probably the one to look at. Particularly with Tom Kearney being Fulham's most fouled player. And if he plays in that number 10 role again like he did against West Brom, that's one to look out for. But I'm just not convinced yet. The two that I do pick out though is Anguissa, Fulham's centre midfielder. He's called Zambo. If you go on Bet365, he's 13-2 in Bet365, but he's called Zambo. Alright, that's who you want. Big price. He's only got one booking this season. If you follow me on Twitter, I did him on that day. Whenever I watch Fulham, he's getting involved, he's getting stuck in. He gives up a little bit. If Fulham go 2-0 down, he starts backing out of tackles and stuff. But while the game's still in the balance, or Fulham have got a chance, he gets his foot in. Really good stats for his tackling, really good stats for his fouls. And then obviously the way West Ham play with Fornals and Bowen trying to break from the middle of the park, or bench with Ben Rama on there to come on as well. He should be not in trouble, but he should be under pressure a lot in that midfield. There is a chance that Lamina will be missing for Fulham today, so that we'll see Kearney drop back in there maybe, or Loftus-Cheek. Puts even more pressure on him, I think, to do the defensive side of the game. But I think 13-2 is massive. The other player I'm picking out is Lookman at 17-2. He posted really good stats. Got booked last week. He's just a hard worker. Busy. Not sure West Ham's the team he's going to get booked against though. So Fowler's obviously coming down that side, and we've got Balwen at right centre back. Not really players you would anticipate Lookman having to commit fouls on. But a bit like last week when I mentioned Klein, I said I'm backing Klein, but I'm monitoring Klein because his price is good. Lookman's price is good, 17-2, huge price. Not for today's game though. But if you've got pen and paper, write down Lookman Fulham. Keep an eye on him for the future games, because once he gets a couple of yellow cards, you will not get this price again. You've got to monitor it, and you've got to pick the right game, I think. And when you pick the right game, your quid's in. Bring in the paper. Bring in the dollar. Anyway, Sunday. That's Saturday's done. Sunday, West Brom take on Spurs. I've got two players. One's a bit of a sporadic one. We've got Doherty. He's the one I'm not too sure on. But he's 7-1. If he was 4-1, I wouldn't be interested. But 7-1 makes it tasty. Up against Grady Diangana, who is the 6th most foul player in the Premier League. He was the most foul player. Not in the best of form, Diangana. I know it's only a few games in. He's been quite quiet the last two. West Brom are terrible though, aren't they? So that would put me off backing Doherty. So the one player I'm going to pick out is Gallagher at 3-1. Frustratingly, I never mentioned him last week. I only mentioned one player for that game. But I had Gallagher at 4-1. I'm surprised the price hasn't dropped a little bit more. He does about 5 tackles a game, which is a ridiculous amount. That's better than Declan Rice. A lot of you people watching this will be West Ham fans. You'll know Declan Rice does a lot of tackles. Gallagher is doing more tackles than Declan Rice. Really busy in the centre of the park. If he does drop back, he's going to be in Son territory. So 3-1 for Gallagher is possibly backable without it being the biggest price. That's as low as I'll go. But that game's not. I don't know if I'll be jumping into that game yet. Leicester Wolves. Now this is a tasty game. This is the game I'm looking forward to watching the most this weekend actually. Two teams who aren't doing as well as I expect them to, being honest with you. They're doing alright this season, but I expect them to do a little bit more. I think the managers have got their team lineups a little bit wrong at times this season, but they're now both in a little bit of form. Their main players are coming back and stuff, so it sets us up for a good battle. I had a little look at Leicester's formation. The way they played, they smashed Leeds on Monday night, absolutely walloped them. So I don't think Rodgers will switch from the 3 at the back. I think he'll keep it, which actually I think helps us from a better perspective. I'm looking at Leicester's wing backs here because I like Wolves' wing backs. They've got Semedo on one side. I'm sorry if you're a Wolves fan, I pronounced his name wrong. Al Nouri on the other, the young lad that they brought in the summer, got his first start in France from at Angers. He was posting really good stats for getting forward. He's doing about 2 to 3 dribbles a day for West Ham fans. That's more than Masuaku. He started the last game against someone, I can't remember, whoever he started against. He had a couple of shots really early doors. He gets forward well. That then makes me want to look at Leicester's wing back, and Mark Albrighton started there against Leeds. Not a proper wing back, very experienced player though. However, 4-1, that's a big enough price for me. Decent enough tackling stats and stuff. I had a little look at his Europa League because that's mainly where he's been playing his minutes this season so far. Decent enough numbers. I'm happy to take 4-1 on Mark Albrighton should both teams line up a very similar formation. And I say a very similar formation, it's slightly different. Leicester might have an extra man in midfield at times. I'm hoping Rodgers starts James Maddison. He's really eased him back in. I think he's eased him in too much. Again, he played well in the Europa League. Pratt started against Leeds in sort of where you'd want to put James Maddison in. But if Rodgers goes with Barnes and Maddison playing behind Jamie Vardy, that's good for us. That's what I want to see. And that would make me want to see Moutinho start for Wolves. 4-1 for Moutinho as well. And that's a nice double actually. Moutinho and Albrighton both at 4-1 for that game. Only a couple more games to get through, don't you worry. City Liverpool, actually, I'm not going to get into this one. I'm not doing anything. I actually missed the Man United Arsenal game last week, and someone messaged me and said you forgot the game. I didn't forget it. The odds are just rubbish. If you look at the players, most of them are 2-1. It's just not backable. The bookies just reduced the odds on these type of games massively. If you have a look at this fixture, it doesn't often throw up that much cards, 1 or 2 per game. It's not for me. I'm leaving Man City, Liverpool. I'll watch it in play and see if I can get a vibe for anyone. You know, Joe Gomez. I was looking at Joe Gomez and stuff, but he's 2-1. It's just not backable. So I'm leaving that one. And then we finish up with Arsenal and Aston Villa before the international break. And I'm looking forward to watching this one as well. Straight away, I went to look for Rob Holding, right centre back for Arsenal. Jack Grealish should be going up against him, and to find he was 5-1, couldn't believe it. That's my lineups are what I want. That's probably my main single this weekend. Rob Holding at 5-1 up against Jack Grealish in the back three for Arsenal. Another couple of players tickle my fancy. I really like Saka. I'm a huge fan of Saka for Arsenal, and so I always sort of have a look, see who he's up against. Matty Cash at 4-1 is Villa's right back. I'm not betting on him. I'm going to go for Trezeguet at 11-2. Villa's right winger committed a few fouls in against Southampton. Probably should have been booked. I think he's in the top 3 for most fouls committed this season in Premier League. And now, while that sounds, that's quite good, you also got to remember he doesn't play every week. He's not got as much minutes. Souček's top, but Trezeguet's not played nearly as much time as Souček this season, so he gets stuck in the way Arsenal play, which means Saka doesn't always have to commit defensively. Could see that Saka gets a 5-yard head start on Trezeguet at times if they break. Could put Trezeguet under a bit of pressure. He will make fouls, so 11-2 is a good price for me. I'm happy to get involved in that one. Martin Atkinson is referee though. My rule of thumb with Martin Atkinson is he doesn't like to give out early yellow cards. He will if he has to, but I think he allows the game to be physical. But he almost lets it get too physical, and then he has to start brandishing yellow cards everywhere. So Trezeguet 11-2, Rob Holding 5-1. Right, so you're all wanting to know the double. You all just want the giveaway, don't you? Hopefully there's a giveaway. I'm putting a $5 on Anguissa for Fulham, Zambo, and Rob Holding 44-1 on Bet365 for that double. Massive price, I think. So I'm whacking a little $5 on that, and if it wins, I'm going to give it to one of you guys. All you have to do is be subscribed to the channel. So £225, I've got it on now, £225 cash I will give to one of you if it wins. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel and just pop a comment below. You don't have to, you can pop anything. Make it about football if you can, please, because I will read them all and I will try and reply to them all. And that's all you have to do, subscribe. So anyway, I'm going to disappear now. Good luck if you're having a little gamble. So my main bets this weekend, just looking through my list: Pogba, if the lineup's permitting, Pogba, Basham, Zambo, Albrighton and Moutinho. Actually, I do like both of them. And then we've got Rob Holding in the Arsenal game. That's probably the ones that stand out for me a little bit. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, drop a like on it. Next week we've got the international break, so there won't be any card bets. I'm going to try and do a couple of generic Premier League videos. I don't know which topics. If there's any topics you want to see, put them below. Maybe I might have a look at the best summer signings that are performing this season so far. Maybe the sort of the team of the season thus far, the most disappointing players or something. I don't know. If there's any topics you want to see, drop in the comments. I'll have a little read and I'll see what I can knock up next week. Anyway, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. Over 200 subscribers. I'm really pleased with that actually. And well, catch you in a bit.